Okay, John, we're back. How was your weekend?
Weekend was great. It was. I was up at a wedding in Milwaukee. Flew in there from New York. It was easy. God, Milwaukee's beautiful. Beautiful river that runs through town. Did a boat cruise. Everything was cool.
You said the real estate's cheap.
And crazy cheap. Compared to New York, it's stupid cheap. Compared to Chicago, it's about a third of the price.
Nice. All right. All weekend, other than Hillary, people have been talking about this new Apple phone, I guess for a glimmer till that came up. What do you think of these new earbuds?
I'm not a fan. I know I'd lose them or break them. And for $150, Andrew, I mean, I went on TechRabbit today and bought a set of LG wireless Bluetooth headphones with, mute and great fidelity and things like that. And instead of being $89, they were $39 on TechRabbit. And then I got a $12 off coupon. I'll put the coupon in this in the link to this on the website. But shoot, got them for $27 shipped. How do you beat that?
Well,
they're not earbuds, but they're cool.
No,
they can get them in like 5 different colors.
I'm looking at them, and then I looked at the Bose. The Boses are $150. They look pretty sweet, but they're connected with a wire that goes around the back. They're not individual iBuds. But we'll see when Apple comes out. Oh, by the way, we have questions coming in.
Okay.
That we put out on the Twitter, and some hate, some good ones.
Good.
But before we get
good
to that,
for both.
yeah, we'll get to your questions here. We're going to go through a few. What are the stocks you're seeing? I know you check the stock twits every once in a while. What are you seeing on there?
Well, for us, I see a lot on stock twits and a lot of the stocks that we talk about in the gold space, Andrew, whether it's GDX, whether it's GLD, whether it's NUGT, the one that you traded so well last week. There's the usual, there's chatter about that on stock twits. I don't show a lot of unusual activity in there today, but I bought some GLD on the dip, and I sold calls against it as it started to rally back today.
Yeah, I did some of that too. I did.
Looks like people calling in for questions, not just
I don't know,
not
about
just
that.
Going in on Twitter.
I did the Nugget again on Friday because there's a little bit of hate going on there.
Oh yeah.
And I came in, I was getting slammed today, and I turned around and it's up $1. So,
yeah.
Man, if you don't, looks like the weather. You don't like it.
Stick around, it'll change.
I heard you screaming about the healthcare.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, first of all, it's
set it up though. You got somebody over the weekend that tells you, "Oh, you don't have to do this," and then you talk to your accountant.
Yeah. Well, so we sold, the brokerage firm, Options House, to E-Trade, and God bless E-Trade. They got it, and they're going to build it out and make it greater than it was. I am confident of that. However, when I'm looking at, we didn't get E-Trade stock, we got cash. So I'm looking at how much we're going to have to pay in taxes and things. And I knew that there's an Affordable Care Act, or ACA, tax of 3.8%. And it is a tax. There's no two ways about it. John Roberts said it. And, the president and Congress lied when they said it wasn't a tax, but it's a tax.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's 3.8%. But it turns out if you're an active participant in that business, you don't have to pay the 3.8. But guess what you pay instead then, Andrew? Self-employment. And so self-employment, Social Security, Medicare, guess what it comes to?
What?
3.8%. So in other words, you're going to pay the 3.8% ACA or Medicare, Medicaid, whatever, regardless. There is no way you're going to completely get around that. And that's just BS. In other words, the top tax rate isn't 39.5%. It is already in the 40s because of the ACA, and that's before you get to state or anything else.
Well, wonderful. This is
lovely.
You like your doctor, you can keep your doctor moment.
Lovely.
I like that. Before we get to our questions that came in, you have Disney on your screen. I know Jeff Mackey's been tweeting about Disney. Do you like this at this level? It's like 93.
Yeah, it got down into the 92s, maybe even 91 and change in the pre-market. Doing a little trading in this one. Haven't built a big position yet. Don't even know if I'll carry it overnight yet because the trading is not that intense. But there's reasonable buying in Disney, DIS. And, the stock's down from whatever, the 120s, Andrew, down here to the low 90s. How do you not at least take a look at it? There's another one that was hitting on Heat Seeker that's a Chinese stock called YY.
Why? Why?
Exactly. Why? Who's on first?
That's like a little kid, the YY. Why buy questions?
So if you take a look, why, you'll see some activity in that one. And it's Chinese, it's an ADR, but there's some decent upside activity in that one. Take a look.
All right. So it's 52.39. Mm-hmm. And what are you looking at, the Octobers?
Yeah, and on a relatively bad day early on, this one was right away got into positive territory, and now at mid-session it's pushing up through 4% on the gain side. So, worth watching, I'd say, because of that strong upside activity.
Okay, because I'm looking at those the 50s in November. They look like they're already in the money. Okay, so we put out a tweet to say, do you have any questions? And I'm going to go through one of them. Two people asked about X.
Okay.
And
U.S. Steel.
U.S. Steel. Two people. I'm not going to mention who they are only because I can't find them.
Okay.
Oh, right here. Paul Young. Are you a buyer of X right now? This isn't. You think this is the singer?
And let's see. Paul Young, his handle is GoStocks32.
You don't think he's related to the guy that wrote that song?
I'm thinking it's not that guy.
Well, actually, Daryl Hall wrote that song, Every Time You Go Away. But this is Paul Young.
Paul, I don't think, I haven't seen the unusual activity in X since we cited it, in July, and this thing just made a horrifically great run from the teens towards 30. And as it came off, I'm not saying I bought it at the bottom or sold it at the top. I know the haters are going to accuse me of doing that, but I did catch a nice run in this one. I did get out. I haven't gotten back in, but I'm tempted down at the levels it's at. I just haven't seen, Andrew, that strong buying on the call side that would be a catalyst for me to say, let's pull the trigger and load it up.
All right. Tulani says, is this still a stock picker's market? That's T-U, Lonnie, I.
Well, it's always a stock picker's market.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be insulting to Tulani, but it always is. It's the only way you get alpha. You don't get alpha by buying the index. So if you can pick the right stocks within the index, Tulani, obviously it works much better. Right now, where am I seeing that? I still see casinos, Andrew, Wynn and LVS, still seeing activity there. So if I had only one sector to trade right now, certainly casinos would still be a focus for me.
One of the girls, Simplicity Siljant, Simply something. Please talk about financials. They have an egg on their site.
Okay.
They need to change that.
Please talk about financials. Like them. You heard Jamie Dimon today say he thinks they should just get it over with and raise rates. Here's what I'll say about that. I don't disagree with Jamie, but they should have done it a year ago. He'd probably agree. They probably should have done it a year and a half ago. He'd still agree. I think they'll do it, and I think they'll do it just because they want to, not because the data's telling them to, because the last three big data points, ISM non-manufacturing, and employment have been weak. So now they're going to move rates. So in other words, they're no longer data dependent if they move rates here.
Money Bunny Alice likes us, and she retweeted us. She says she adores the Nigerians.
God bless you, Money Bunny Alice. Thank you.
Money Bunny. And here it says, all average Joes, this is David, Strike Eagle Eli. It says, all average Joes expect its gurus and pundits to be responsible for their opinions instead of just talking their bucks. I guess that's not a question.
Yeah, well,
it's like a statement.
I'd say buyer beware. Understand that anytime somebody comes on television or the radio, they're bringing them on to talk about the stock, either bullish or bearish, or they could bring somebody on for broad market commentary. Boring.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for somebody to come on television or radio and not tell you that they're buying or selling, you're in the wrong business. That's what people do. Doesn't mean you have to follow them. If they've got a good track record, maybe you follow them. If they don't, do your homework.
And speaking of questions, but just in general, how about the VIX report?
Yeah. What about the VIX?
Thursday, Jamie said they're selling the 12.5s. Mm-hmm. And then Friday we had that sell-off, and that didn't look too smart at the time.
Right.
But I can give these things a few days, and look what's going on today.
Yeah.
They're selling the crap out of that premium.
Big crush in premium. 4-1, they were selling calls on the bid in the VIX.
Took a little bit of pain on Friday, but the call was correct. So it's important to watch those videos. At least you don't have to trade the VIX, but you can at least get an idea. Like if you won a lifeline and you were feeling bad on Friday, you could have at least put that, well, maybe they're selling those 12
Put
and a half.
that to work for you.
Yeah, so that was kind of good. All right, you going to be on tomorrow?
Yep. Be on tomorrow. I'll be here with you.
Oh, you'll be in the office.
Yes, sir.
So I'll have a different sound, we hope.
Remember, sign up over at iTunes and get the podcast.
Subscribe. Yeah,
There
it's under. Guess what? I put it under Nigerian podcast.
All right.
I thought a lot, very hard.
That's a very creative name.
I know.
Thanks,
it took
Andrew.
me forever to come up with that.
See you tomorrow, folks.
All right, later.